Yo, what is going on, guys? It is your boy Clout, and welcome back to another video. And we are reacting to a video called Candace Owens Explains the Biggest Problem with Women Today. I actually want to hear it because I actually do like talking about things that are in today's society, especially about women and men and how they are. So I actually want to hear what this person has to say. Let's get into it.
Subscribers, and we would love for you guys to help us make it happen. So hit the subscribe button and let's get started with today's video.
You know what I always say? Experiment with both and tell me what makes you feel better. And that is the truth when it comes to young women, because I dedicated my first episode to young women and really talking to them about these are the options that are being presented to you. Less. Take off more clothes, you know, do the most to get attention, right? If you think that that's freedom, the idea that you have to wear less and the idea that you have to get naked to be heard, you really think that's a form of freedom? Because that's not, that's slavery, that's bondage. I didn't have to take off my clothes to be heard in society. And these women will realize that when you follow these people that are, you know, self-imposed feminists, I'm a feminist, I do this, I'm a feminist, you hear that word over and over and over again, you'll find that the majority of them are miserable. Look at their lives and ask yourself a question. Do you think they are happy? Do you feel good when you do what they do? Right? When you're constantly looking for a dopamine hit from social media because you took your clothes off and you want somebody in your comments, you know, a thirst trap with your ass out, right? And you want someone in your comments going, oh, slay.
She's just exposing the women's industry right
now. Hashtag Tuesday.
Bro, that's so funny. She's just exposing the whole women's industry. Now, some women, I gotta admit, some women don't do that. I've met some really nice women out there, but majority on social media, I've seen women like that. Seriously, like it's gotten so bad to the point where I just been seeing it just recommended on Instagram. Same for TikTok. That's why I uninstalled TikTok, because TikTok is becoming more sexualized. I don't like that. Like TikTok is supposed to be about comedic things, you know, not sexual content.
And you're devaluing yourself, and at the end of the day you don't actually feel good, and it's not going to bring you happiness, right? So yeah, you can get guys sliding in your DM, you can get guys telling you look good, you can get guys that want to sleep with you. How many of these people actually get guys that want to stay with you, right? Are not in somebody else's DM. The same way that you found him is the same way he's going to find somebody else.
Let me ask something. I don't understand why you women think that partying, like you guys, like your mindset is that you want to party, right? You guys want to party once you turn 18, like drink, have sex, all that kind of stuff, until you're like at an age enough that you don't have that flame or that attention that you had before, and then you start to settle down with a guy. But that guy probably doesn't feel the same way as you because they know the energy that you bring off. Just know that if you do these kind of things, a man doesn't want to be with you. Don't you guys ever think that things that you do will come with consequences in the future? Such as if you have sex, you might have a baby, because condoms don't work 100% at the time. Or like drink. If you don't control your drinking, then you could have a kidney failure in the future. You won't live a long life. You know what I mean? What else? Guys, I need ideas. I don't know, just things that you know that will turn out bad for you. Don't you guys ever think about that before you do it? Like I personally haven't had sex yet. Not only because I'm a Christian, I want to have sex when I'm married, but I'm scared that one day I could destroy my life. You know what I mean? I don't want to have a kid with somebody that I, you know, had temporary fun with. Like I would at least want to have sex with somebody that I know I'm happy with. And that's just something I wanted to add. Like, do you guys ever think about that? Because I do every day.
Becoming a part of a society that's ADHD. You want to know why our grandparents stayed together? Because they weren't looking at ass cheeks all day on Instagram and refreshing it and going, oh, well, that girl looks younger, that girl looks better, that girl's face tuned, you know, and I think that is what these young women that they're following are telling them. You've got 13-year-olds getting lip injections, right? Because they want to look like Kylie Jenner. Again, not a shot.
Thank you for saying that. So you know the Omegle video that I uploaded? I had to cut out some parts of my Omegle video because swear these little kids who were 13, 14 looked so older. There were people that looked a lot older than how they're supposed to look because they were wearing makeup. I feel like it was kind of like inappropriate content, but I asked how old they were. They said that they were like 13 and 12, and I was like, dude, you're wearing that much makeup as a 13 and 12-year-old? You know what I mean? Crazy how society is. It's coming to the age now that that people are wearing like all this foundation, all this makeup to look older, and it tricks the man's mind.
But what society have we created that ever made Kylie Jenner feel like she had to go out and buy those lips, that she had to contour her entire face and change her entire body? She was already a beautiful little girl. So the society is ill. It's not normal, right? Don't let these people convince you that that's normal. That's cancer, and that cancer will become contagious.
I don't know why you guys think plastic surgery is
that. You don't follow
good.
Better role models.
Come on.
It seems to me a lot of women, when they hear conservative values, the trigger to them, and I could be wrong, the trigger to them, it seems as, bondage, go back in the kitchen, shut up and just, just be a slave to your husband. Why do you feel like there's so much of when they're hearing about some of the things that you say, like what makes you happy is making your husband a sandwich, some people like that sounds crazy, right? So why do you think there's such a disgust, such a rejection of that kind of idea of that kind of woman in regards to modern society?
Because we're being brainwashed via the education system. You learn feminism in school, right? You learn feminism. I had to actively learn it. And
for clarification, how do you define feminism?
I can tell you how they define it and what it actually is, right? So feminism in school, when you learn it, is you're just fighting against the patriarchy, and you're supposed to see the patriarchy everywhere. It's the same way that critical race theory and race is being taught. The idea is they're not actually teaching you anything but how to hate white people when you're learning about race in school. And when you are learning about feminism, they're not actually teaching you anything other than how to hate men and to see the patriarchy and men putting you down everywhere, right? So when you have that form of psychological conditioning taking place in the school system, you're producing women that see the patriarchy everywhere. It becomes like a paranoia, right? Oh my God, if asked me to make a sandwich, oh my God, can I make a sandwich, and then that's it, I'm trapped. And they're actually not realizing that there actually was an incentive behind you even being taught that. You've never actually lived the life of making a husband a sandwich, and they think that's going to send you back, and suddenly you're going to lose your voting rights, and you're not going to be able to go get work. They wanted to be able to go to work. They wanted to have that option to be something outside of the home. Right now, we have that option, and we're being told the exact opposite, which is that everything in the home is bad, and that's what you call throwing out the baby with the bathwater. There are some really amazing things. I think the best things that come from being at home. Sometimes I think we got the bad end of the deal, right? I'm like, wait, we got to stay at home and do nothing and spend our husband's money, and somebody complained?
Yeah,
exactly.
That's a joke, guys.
That's a joke. But no, that and to me, I think that's the part where I've unfortunately seen that happen so much in society, that there's such a mischaracterization to me of what people think as stay-at-home mothers and traditional women. There's such a mischaracterization, like these women were prisoners,
right?
And so whereas, like you said, I think first wave feminism wanted women to have a choice, but then third wave, the choice is gone. You must choose what we want for
exactly
you, right?
What we want is you need to be top 40 Forbes company, a corporation. If you don't have that, then you somehow failed. And I'm like, that is so backwards and so wrong. So that instantly allows man to have different goals in terms of the workforce than women, because that means we have to make a decision. Do we have children or continue working in our career, or try to juggle both? Men don't have that same pressure, and it's not their fault. They didn't design this. Men weren't like, well, I have an idea, let's not be able to carry children, only let women be able to do that. There's the biological reality of that, and increasingly you see women that go for it in terms of their career because they have the societal pressure, and then it's too late. And then they realize, wow, this job is not making me happy, but my gosh, can I just tell you as a new mom what you feel like when your son smiles at you? Like, when your baby looks up at you, there's no greater feeling of accomplishment. Like there is none. I have accomplished a lot in my life in terms of my career, and I can tell you there is nothing that satisfies me more than just my baby smiling at me. And we're taking that away from women because we're telling them that's the wrong aspirations to have in life.
Another thing that I've noticed going on in society is that there is a lot of cynicism towards men as well. And you've talked about it, as well on your show and on different platforms.
I've never heard that word before. Okay, the word cynicism. I mean, I've heard it many times before, but I just never knew what the word meant. An indication to believe that people are motivated purely by self-interest, skepticism. Let me rewind what he said again.
Going on in society is that there is a lot of cynicism towards men as well. And you've talked about it, as well on your show and on different platforms. And I've noticed that a lot of women, similar to like what the media does, it projects such a negative, cynical view of men in society, men are going to take advantage of you, they're going to beat you, they're going to...
Thank you for saying that. And those are the people who usually are with the I hate all men movement or whatever.
For women who may have a negative view of men because of maybe personal experience, whether their father may have not been there or because of whatever society painted to them, how would you encourage them? How would you motivate them to not be as cynical and to be more optimistic when it comes to men?
I think it's a self-perpetuating problem, meaning that there are crappy men in the world, right? But men are crappy because we've created a system where manhood has become obsolete. You keep increasingly telling men more and more they can't matter. When I say, who are they being told that by? You know, they're, like I said, there's more sinister implications here of why we're making manhood obsolete. When we're saying masculinity is wrong, this is backwards. You don't need a man. You can just have a baby without a man. You're starting to see that sort of programming happening with young.
I've been hearing that a lot too. Have a baby without a man. I mean, with technology in the future, probably, but it's impossible. And like, I did some research. There's no way that you can have a baby without a man.
When you're telling women to act like men, you should aspire to the things that men naturally might aspire to. When you remove the more natural feeling of men being providers and women being nurturers, which is a beautiful yin and yang that just works, right? So you're creating men to feel obsolete, and then women are complaining because men aren't being men. You know, it doesn't work that way, right? And not only that, then increasingly you're telling women to be the opposite of what I think men want, right? The opposite, maybe in the instant when men are not thinking with their big heads and they're saying, oh, whoa, she's half naked, great, I'm going to go for it. That might be what a man wants. But long term, that's not what a man wants. A man doesn't want a girl that's just going to be naked all the time and put herself out there available for every man to see.
Men suck.
You complain about men, but are you being the type of a woman that a man would want, right?
Thank you.
It's a self-perpetuating problem. And then you say
you.
that and they, oh my God, Candace is a horrible human being. And I'm looking at you going, I'm not a dude. I wouldn't date you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, again, self-perpetuating problem, not enough women calling out the fact that women are not desirable right now, in my opinion, right? They're sexually desirable. We're not even allowed to say man and woman anymore. And that gets me into the transgender. And I could rant for 3 hours on that. So
No, Candace, I like this. And that to me is a direction where I was trying to get to today. Because the first part that I was thinking about was that it appears to me that a lot of the critiques that can appear to be personal is not really an attack on an individual, right? And none of us are perfect. Sometimes I say it the wrong way. Sometimes you say things the wrong way. None of us are perfect. But one thing that I think you're passionate about is that you're seeing that some of these ideas that are being projected in society, how they're negatively affecting the next generation, especially as it pertains to our children, especially your child.
Oh, of course. I mean, it's proven because, you know, back in the 60s, it wasn't never like that. Like, my grandpa actually told me how the 60s was when, you know, he was like 15 or 18 years old. He told me that the 60s is definitely not how it is now, and society has definitely gotten worse throughout the years of him being alive. It's gonna keep getting worse. Like, eventually there won't be any gender babies. Yeah, I don't know if you guys remember this trend, but they wanted to get rid of genders. That made me so sick because I want my kid to have a gender. Like, it will get that bad, bro. I hope it doesn't get that bad, but come on, dog.
Especially amongst men. That's why we do what we do at the Roommates, trying to uplift and build better men, because we see that society creates so many unhealthy messages. And it's funny that you mentioned that point where when you think about how women were once soft in the past, traditionally, right? Generally speaking, and men were considered to be hard and tough. Yep. Now it's kind of flipped in inverse, right? Now that the women are projected to be these hard, tough individuals, and now these
we still are. We still are. We still are.
These men are now created to be soft pillows, and you see them on college campuses, right?
Right.
But then, like you said, I love your point that you mentioned. You said try both out. Right? So try what the society says in regards to being a man, and then try the alternative way, the more excellent way about masculinity, taking responsibility, being more ambitious, driven, all these things. And men all the time tell me that they're so much more happier doing it the other way than following what society has communicated to them.
All right, boys. I think the video's done. My thoughts about this, Candace Owens, you did a pretty good job. I actually enjoyed, you know, the way you were speaking about how women are thinking versus how they were back in the past, you know, things like that. I enjoyed what you were talking about. All right, boys, well, I'll see you guys later. Before we actually end off this video though, make sure you guys follow my social medias. I actually have a TikTok, an Instagram, and a Twitter. So if you guys want to, you know, keep up with my posts, you know, see more of me with my photos and see more with my videos, then you guys can follow, you know, all my social medias and, you know, keep updated with all my social medias. I also do have a Discord if you guys want to be early to my videos, because you know, I do have a bot that does post every single time I upload. So if you guys want to join my Discord, then it is down below. But yeah, boys, I think that's about it for this video. I'll see you guys later. Take care, and we out.